texted Minna?
I haven't.
Anybody heard from her?
I do not believe I have Minna's cell phone number. If you would like to share that, I could.
You don't have to.
I don't believe so. Her email. All right, welcome everyone. We're live, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. This is executive committee meeting, October 15th at 7 p.m., not 6 p.m. Oh, I have to do roll call, huh? All right. David?
I'm here.
Minna is absent.
I just text her, we'll see if she replies back.
Great. Brittany, I am here. Since we are doing roll call for sale. Mel?
And me, here.
And Katie. Here. Great. Thank you all. All right. So we have the agenda. I hope you all were able to see that. I do have an amendment to the agenda. One, I forgot to change the minutes from August to September. So that is modified to say September 9th for the minutes. And then, I believe that's all I've got. Did anybody else have any additions or modifications to the agenda as it was written?
So hold on, what would you say you changed the date from what to what now?
To minutes to approve, they are the September 9th minutes, not the August 19th.
Did you update under roll call October 15 at 7 p.m. to
did
match
change
the
that to
banner?
7.
Okay,
Thank you for calling me out.
we were just talking about that. I think it's fine, yeah.
Okay, cool. Anybody else? Yes.
Request for executive session for matters of personnel and compensation.
Okay.
I knew you were gonna keep us in here all night again.
Hopefully it's short.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so motion to approve
As
the minutes
adopted or as modified?
as modified, yeah.
Great. Do
Amended.
you have a second?
Yes.
Okay, motion to adopt by.
As amended, yeah.
Sorry, Katie, is that you
Yeah.
for a second? Okay, all in favor? All in favor?
Aye. And Dr. Mena cannot come.
Okay, great. Do we have a motion to excuse Dr. Manor Fisher?
Second.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
Oh, you can make motions. You know that.
Yeah, I know.
I thought you
Sure.
were saying, But okay, I'll second.
Motion to excuse.
Aye.
I'm running a lot of things here, David.
Run the meeting in that tone.
You wanna run it? You wanna take minutes?
No, I just like it.
Second, did we do it all in favor? I know you all.
Let's do it in
I just said
all in
aye.
favor?
All in favor.
Aye.
See, when I say it, or type it, I assume I also said it. Okay, great, thank you. All right, minutes to approve from September 9th. Can you look at those, please?
Only thing again, same time. I think the meeting started at 6 last time, right? And so under call to order and roll call. Wait, it says January 22nd?
It does.
Yeah, so that whole line is.
If that's not on me, that would be error. All right, so updating this to not January 2024.
Yeah, I guess it was September
And not
9th at
7
6 p.m.
And also putting my name under presiding. Cool,
Yes,
okay.
but I think all of this seems fine.
Okay. Motion to approve minutes as as edited. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Okay. All right, so we've got Jim here to talk about the Elbrook-Leahy intersection. Many of us may have remembered this. Katie, you would not have been here. This was back in February, March.
Okay.
When we were initially presented with the schematics around this, and we had questions around priority, and because it was a safety report that rated these two intersections as A's and B's. We never got follow-up information, but we're running short on this sort of funding. They've already extended it, so we want to make sure that we move this over
We could share.
to
Oh, we got
finance,
you.
so that we, one, don't have to give back this sort of funding, and it would also eliminate us from any additional sort of funding.
God.
So, okay. Jim?
So the handout was just, it's, like it is, it's an overview. The list of the 5 things that I have listed they're gonna do or not, it's not all inclusive. Those are the big parts of the project. I think what we didn't have the knowledge of before was how bad the current traffic control signals are. So to date, I've spent $6,200 on just repairing them. I have a quote for over 30, it's around 30,000 to rewire them and just get them so they're gonna last longer. So that's the traffic control signal issue is bad. So we gotta do
That's how
something.
this whole thing started.
Excuse me?
I think that's how this started originally.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I've had 6 repairs this year so far.
But when this price, for year to date, are you doing from Jan or is that the fiscal year? Do you know how Eric pulled that?
I pulled it from James, from my
It's from
ROs, yeah,
Okay,
because I do the ROs every time there's a repair.
okay, cool, thank you. And question, so this estimate, to get the wiring up to date, will we have to expend this if we move forward with this plan?
No.
Or, no, we can, okay.
Yeah.
But if we're not moving forward, we need to expend that 30,000.
Yeah, and actually, these guys call me once a month and like, hey, where are you with this? Because your system's gonna go.
Great.
So if we move forward with the project with the new controls, they're instead of the wires, they're gonna have the mats over the intersections. We're gonna have new controls have anyone ever noticed the big silver box on the telephone pole in the corner? Those are the traffic controls, and it's probably 1980s technology that's in them. So I sent an email to our engineer this evening, and I'm not sure if we're gonna have road detectors or we're gonna have timers on it. But either way, we're gonna have better control over those intersections. As you can see, do what?
Now it's time or now
It's time.
It's time now.
Yeah, that's it. And I don't think I don't even know we can adjust it, to be honest with you. It's old. So, I don't know what was spec'd from the traffic engineer on that. I'm waiting to hear back.
I remember from the report, we were gonna be able to set a schedule, because I remember we could do it for the Sabbath where you wouldn't have to actually push the button, it would like be timed to do
Yeah,
it.
They were gonna
that's-
add in that into the.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was in the specs that they presented to us back in March.
yeah. And there's, road painting, school zones, that's gonna be added to it. And then the bump outs, and I didn't have copies, I don't have one copy if anyone wants to see. These are the engineer drawings on the bump outs,
We
which are,
got this last time.
which were designed to calm traffic. And if you walk the streets of Gulf Manor, you know traffic needs to be calmed, not just here, but everywhere. So we also discussed having some parking in front of Scott Concrete down here with the anticipation of eventually developing the North Weedy project. Not sure what's gonna go in there, but whatever it is, we're gonna need some additional parking.
That part I think is new, because Scott was not in the conversation the last time.
Over here on this part, you see those lines? I think they were there.
Yeah, they're on the top picture here.
Yeah.
You can see on the north part of Sangerville, those are parking spots.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking about on the Weehee.
Oh, no.
In front of, what was it, sorry.
No, in anticipation of that North Weedy
Yes.
site getting
Okay.
developed.
Got you, I'm clear. Okay.
So really, at this point, we're looking for input. There's nothing executive has to do, but we are on a time crunch that we have to have a contract signed by the end of the year.
Well, so we actually do have to do something. So the ask was that we either approve this, ask questions, do something, move this out of committee, because the next step is to go to finance. Because my understanding from the presentation from the engineers was that we do have a large amount of sort of funding, but there is a match that the village has to do. So the next step would go to finance committee and then hopefully to full council next week.
Sort of pay 70%. We're gonna be on the hook for $258,000. That includes engineering fees, and oversight. But if you subtract the 30 that we're gonna have to pay for the traffic control signals, if we don't do anything, I mean,
So if I could weigh in here a second.
Sure.
Since we had the last meeting until now, every time I pass that corner, I observe what's going on over there. Now, the Cincinnati Hebrew Day School, you ever there during pickup time?
Mm-hmm.
So the cars come out and they wait on Los Antosville because it just takes time to allow, I don't know, whatever, 200 kids out. If we do this top out, it would avoid that whole traffic where cars could pull over, stand in after the pop out and allow traffic to go. I just think it would have been, it's a good idea to have it there, these pop outs for the carpool, if you want to say the carpool lane. I feel it would be much safer that way.
The road diet that you're talking about off of Elbrook and off of,
Right, that bump out.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
bump outs.
Yep.
Haven't seen.
But they're only,
Up until the parking lot. So from the corner of Elbrook
yeah.
up until the parking lot.
I think what your point is it gives those cars a safer space
It
to,
gives it, right, to be able to wait to turn into the driveway.
Yeah.
Instead of having and the other way it just builds up traffic because people don't realize that they're waiting to turn in, they think they're just there for another reason. And then that was something that came to my attention, because I know there was a discussion why we have to do the pop outs, let's just leave it the same. So that was something to add on to our decisions.
well, the other thing I think the pop outs already do is they funnel traffic, so they force people to slow down.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I recall.
Because it's,
And
Which
also they
is-
said about the crossing, with the kids crossing, it's much safer if it's.
yeah,
Right, because it
Right.
forces you to slow down.
And which is what we want.
Yes. So,
Signs were not in the
any other questions, or do we have a motion to approve this and move it to finance?
can I make one suggestion? And I don't know, I don't think this is in there, but I think it makes sense at this point to put school zone signs.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
I
that's something
believe that
else.
was in there,
Okay.
as well as crosswalk signs.
Ron asked me to do this yesterday, so
Yeah.
I'm scrambling to get all my facts together.
That's number 5 on your list. at the top.
Yeah, and so.
Well, signage, I'm talking about the flashing signs.
Oh.
That's right, if you look at the plans, that's what they said.
So, yeah,
Okay, is
I
it on there?
believe they were in there, as well as because our crosswalk sign, there's a couple crosswalks on Los Antosville, and I believe one of them is marked, one is not. And I believe it was also included the flashing sign for that crosswalk, because
I thought
that is
so.
more, that meets the whatever governing body compliance.
Okay,
Agreed.
Cool.
Now there's barely a sign.
We get hit.
No, I'm saying there's.
Oh.
well, no, one day get hit on the side.
One lot.
Yeah.
We have, but it's,
My suggestion is that we go ahead and approve this through finance, but I'm curious how you all feel. These schematics mean nothing to me. It feels like this should be something that zoning and planning gives feedback on and not executive. We have
Someone
thoughts?
in planning showed up.
Yes. Yeah, it should be fully staffed.
When is their next meeting?
It is TBD,
It's always
so we would
as
have
needed.
to.
Okay. I would just be concerned with not being able to move fast enough.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If we're waiting on a committee whose next meeting is TBD.
I'm not saying that we slow down the approval of
Okay.
this. I'm just saying if the engineers need feedback, that feels like the most appropriate.
Agreed.
This was initially presented to us for feedback, and I don't feel like we're the correct body to give feedback around this.
Totally.
We're the correct body to say, yes, we need this.
Yes.
Finance is correct body to say, yes, we have funding. But details on curb, parking diets, road diets, that I don't feel like is our best use of time.
so the last presentation, those people knew what they were talking about. That was pretty clear that they've.
The
done this-
engineers.
The engineers, they've done this in other neighborhoods. I'm comfortable relying on them. I'm very fine with letting us just push it forward to council. And obviously finance, what this was budgeted for. So I don't think finance will have issue with it.
Cool.
So I think that it's ready to go. The pros that actually do this the entire day sat here and explained that this makes the most sense. So that's my humble opinion, and I'd be ready to push it up to council.
Great. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I'm more inclined to hear with what David says, yeah.
Great. And I think David and I are saying the same thing, right? I'm just saying if they want other feedback, that's not us.
Right,
That's zoning and planning.
I think we should, like.
Okay, great.
So we just send it.
All right, I will make a motion to approve this and move it to finance for funding.
Council and finance.
Yep, and then council after that. And I can request that our solicitor craft the legislation, so it's ready to go, assuming it comes out of finance.
Correct, that's fine.
Great.
Well, I think it has to go to bid first. That's the other,
Oh, but I think we have to do a motion.
No, we have to allow
We have
the
to,
finance
yeah.
to go to bid. I mean,
To do the bid.
Council to go to bid.
yeah, but I'm just giving you kind of the mix that you know it has to go to bid, there's a time
Yep.
restraint on that as well.
All right,
All right, do you have a second?
yes, second.
Okay, and all in favor? Aye.
Anything else, gonna leave us now?
Got anything else for me?
You don't wanna hang out, it's a fun time.
I did enough of these meetings when I was a chief.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, take care.
Thank you.
You too.
All the work you put into that, you're gonna get.
All right, I did not get an update from Ron on the Parks Master Plan. I had asked it, for an update on that one because we were also on a time crunch with funding there. I believe that one is from the county.
I can tell you
You can
what,
speak to that?
yeah, speak a little bit to it. So I requested it as well, double down on it. And what I was told is that the administration has a concern about the upcoming levy, whether like if we don't get the funding from the levy, that we wouldn't be able to move forward with the parks RFP. So he was suggesting that we wait until after the election to proceed with the parks RFP. When I told him that, why don't we go ahead and complete it so executive can look at it? And so that's open, so we know what it's gonna look like when it eventually goes out, presuming that we're gonna have the funding for it. I was told that that he would work on that it is, the draft that I had previously shown you is basically the same state that it's in. The only thing that needs to be added is dates on the timeline, and that's what is holding him up, is, not wanting to put dates on there that I guess would have to be changed.
Okay, thank you for that. My understanding that this was like a $30,000 grant that we had received to create the master plan. And the administrator is hesitant to even complete that. Is that what I'm understanding? Because we may not be
yeah.
able to potentially do the full master plan?
Yeah, the feedback when I said this needs to be done by Tuesday was that he doesn't, that he's concerned that we're wanting to push this forward before the levy. That there's financial concerns around that. I did not follow up with the fiscal officer. I just got this report yesterday.
Aren't we on a time, like,
Yes.
yes.
From my
Like, we don't
understanding,
have time to, potentially, we do not have time to wait until after the election in order to close this.
I've asked about that, and I've been told that the timeline on this, and he said this, the administration has reported before, that the timeline on this is movable, that it isn't in stone. But I do not know the ins and outs of even which monies is potentially being matched or offered.
I'm gonna make a funny motion right now. I put forth the motion to take this out of the hands of the administrator and put it into the hands of Eric.
great.
And get Eric to start working on this.
I second that.
It's an excuse. We can't continue that.
So a motion to move the RFP process for the parks master plan to
The whole
fiscal
entire
officer?
project,
I'll just try to get it clean for the minutes.
the entire project, let's move it over to Eric.
Right,
This be a recommendation for council.
Correct.
to make that, yeah,
That
to make that decision, correct?
All right, so, motion to move the Parks Master Plan to the fiscal officer for execution.
Or split between the fiscal officer and the secretary.
Who do you mean by secretary?
What's the new
I think
lady's
you mean
name?
clerk,
Clerk,
the clerk, the village clerk.
village clerk.
Thank
I
you.
Uh,
apologize.
Thank you. All women appreciate that. Okay. I think we could just make it very clear to the fiscal officer, and then we are entrusting Eric does whatever needs to be done. So if that is including the village clerk, I assume he will do what needs to be done. Is that okay if we adjust the language to just
Yep.
fiscal officer? Okay.
My point, I think everybody understands what I'm trying to say without having the full conversation.
All right, so I just want to make sure I have this captured correctly because I'm pretending to be Eric for today. Motion to move Parks Master Plan process to the fiscal officer for execution. And that was by David. Great, and then seconded by Katie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great, that passes. Okay, I can communicate that when I send over the minutes to Eric.
Yes, please.
I'm curious to see what his reaction's gonna be when he sees it.
Again,
I agree with you, because my understanding, not to keep getting into the weeds with this, that we had a summer deadline that we were working on for the funding. And I asked multiple times, you all have heard me, I've gotten backlash around it, but that we needed to have a plan to spend these funds by the summer. So that date has well passed and we still not gotten an update. Great, so I don't have any other pending items. So I believe we could move into executive session if everybody is okay with that.
a motion to move into executive session to discuss compensation and
Matters of personnel and compensation.
matters of personnel compensation.
I'll second it. You got a little bit of energy today.
All in favor? And I believe I actually need a roll call for this.
Okay.
Let me go back up to my roll call.
Just look around the room.
I gotta get it right for the minutes. Okay, David,
Yes.
great, Nina is absent. Brittany, yes. Melody,
Yes.
great,
Ooh,
and
nice.
Katie, yes, great. All right, so we are gonna go into executive session at 7:24, and let me turn off the. And we will just close
It's
this.
not your
How to do
fault.
that.
It's aggressive,
It's not
that
your
door is
fault.
aggressive.
It's not your fault. I think we should add